It has a strong argument for being the first modern truck. It was born in 1916, and you know the company that produced it. They're still in business today, Mack Trucks. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Off Duty Driver. I'm Jack Roberts. I'm the executive editor at Heavy Duty Trucking. And today I thought we'd build a little bit upon last week's video cast on the launch of the new Mack Pioneer. And the reason I wanted to do that is that Mack has always considered itself a pioneering company, and that's just not marketing spin. They have been on the forefront of the trucking industry since, well, even before trucks even existed. The company was born in 1900 in Brooklyn, New York. It was the brainchild of two brothers, John and Augustus Mack. And you have to remember, in 1900, the concept of an automobile was kind of all there was. There wasn't really any differentiation between commercial vehicles to carry things around. There was a little bit of a difference. Okay, this is going to be used to carry passengers. This is going to be used to haul goods into town. I drove a 1904 or a 1906 International motorized vehicle from this time once. It was basically just a powered farm wagon with a seat on it. It was very primitive, but you could throw some bags of grain on it and motor into town as long as you weren't going more than maybe, 5-10 miles. It did the job. And likewise, the Mack brothers, they sort of identified a need for larger, more powerful motorized vehicles. And in 1900, they built their first vehicle, which was a bus. And that bus ran for a remarkably long time. I want to say that bus was still in service well into the 20s and 30s before it was retired. It's in the Mack Museum today. It resides in a place of honor, obviously. After about 5 years in New York, the Mack brothers realized that a car or truck manufacturing plant in the middle of New York City wasn't the best idea, even back then. So they moved out to Allentown, Pennsylvania, about an hour and a half outside of New York. A little further than that back then. But and they got down to building really what were called commercial cars at the time and would soon evolve into trucks. Took them about 15 years, but in 1916, they had a designer named Ed Hewitt, and he put together the Mack AC model. And as much as any other truck out there, it can vie for the title of the first modern truck. And obviously, I'm putting some pictures up here, but the AC was a very recognizable truck. The template for a modern truck design, the engine is in the front. The radiator's behind the engine, which is a little unusual, right up against the cab. It actually had a cab. Nothing to get too excited about by our standards today, but back in 1916, that was a pretty nice cab. Hard rubber tires, so it drove horribly. Chain drive. There was an AK model with a drive shaft, but it really wasn't. The drive shaft technology just wasn't up even to the trucks at the time. So most of these vehicles, most trucks back then were chain driven, exactly like you see on a bicycle, very heavy duty chains. And that lasted well into the 1930s and even into World War II. And so the AC model was born in 1916. There were still AC models in production. They were working on the Hoover Dam into the 1920s, into the 1930s. And there are reports of these trucks staying in service into the 1950s and 1960s. It was just one hell of a tough design. And again, that's really where the saying "like a Mack truck" comes from. So the AC model was available in three sizes. You had the baby truck, 3.5 tons. You had a medium duty, 5.5 tons. Then you had the big boy, 7.5 tons. That's payload capacity. 4-cylinder engine was all you could get. Cranked out a whopping 74 horsepower, just absolutely breathtaking amount of power. A lot of new features on the truck. Aluminum crankcase, a governor integrated into the camshaft, timing gear, 3-speed manual gearbox with a clutch brake. So again, a lot of stuff on this truck that is considered modern. A lot of features that became sort of standard. Mack actually applied for 18 different patents in 1916 with the AC model. That's how advanced a design it was. And the truck hit the market, and it was a hit almost right away. But from a historical context, the most important thing that happened was Great Britain bought about 2,000 of these AC models. It was 1916. England was locked in a brutal world war. They were on the side of France fighting the Germans in Europe. It was the first mechanized war. Machine guns, airplanes, tanks, and trucks. For the first time in history, motorized transport was playing a big role on the modern battlefield, and the British needed reliable trucks. And so they bought 2,000 AC models, shipped them over to France, and the trucks were a huge hit. They were tough. They could go through the mud. They could haul small tanks on the flatbeds. Just incredible design. And the British soldiers, who were called Tommies, they absolutely loved the truck. They just thought it was just a remarkable machine. And they started calling them Bulldogs because of that flat front nose on the AC that you see in these pictures. And that is where the Mack Bulldog was born. That's where the Bulldog became associated with Mack Trucks, and it remains so into this day. And so the Bulldog, the trucks they called them Bulldogs, even though it was the AC model. And it was such a solid design. Mack, as I said, they built the AC model until 1938. Over time, the Bulldog was actually evolved into a corporate logo. I think the first Bulldog was carved out of soap. They applied for a patent, and now every Mack that you get has a Bulldog on the hood. And of course, if it's a silver Bulldog, it denotes, hey, it's a Mack truck. It's a gold Bulldog on the vocational models, it means it's an all Mack powertrain. If it's a gold Bulldog on the Pioneer model, it just means it's the elite flagship model with all the bells and whistles. So the Mack AC is really the truck, I think. As much as any other vehicle, it has the strongest argument to say this is the first modern truck, and sort of vehicle design flowed from there, and we still continue to see its influence to this very day. So Mack's been around 125 years. They stamped out the template for what was probably the first modern truck in 1916. The first integrated powertrain appeared in the 1920s. They were a very early pioneer with Cummins on diesel engines, and then Mack had their own diesel engines as well. And they really sort of paved the way towards diesel trucking post-World War II. So it's a really cool, interesting story. I just thought I love old trucks. I think we'll probably do some more features on some old vehicles in the future. But I figured if we're going to do an old truck, we might as well start with the Mack AC, because arguably that is where all modern truck design comes from, is the AC. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments section. Let me know if you've ever driven an AC. I'd love to hear about it. It must be hard work. Looking at that truck, I have to think, man, that thing would be hard to drive. But anyway, until next time, hold them in the road. I'm Jack Roberts, and this is Off Duty Driver.